It's a lovely evening here in Abuja. I trust that you've mostly had an interesting day. Allow me attempt to make that more interesting as we discuss politics, the campaigns, the candidates, but most importantly, their plans. But then let's bring you the major highlights for tonight.
People are looking at women as if they are beggars. They are just follow. So we want to say, no, enough is enough.
Nigerian women read riot acts on policy of political choice.
Any money advanced to the party was declared before the National Working Committee.
My silence is strategic, not admission of guilt. PDP National Chairman fires back in refutation of allegations of corruption. Also tonight, we have the latest final list of the APC presidential campaign cancelled. Let's remind you that for decades in Nigerian politics, whether it is during the campaigns or in terms of voting during elections proper, women have consistently formed the bulk of the participants. While that may be the case, it is however no secret that this apparently large stratum of the Nigerian population has yet to translate their numerical strength into clinching key political positions. This election season looks to be headed in that same direction, arising from the fact that there is just a single female candidate among the 18 contenders for the president position. The emergence of another female candidate at the governorship level is currently being contested in court, with an unfavorable judgment already against the female candidate in Adamawa. Time would, however, tell, as the court process is clearly still ongoing. Now, in spite of being down on their luck, in efforts at garnering significant elective positions this season, the women are not laying back, but rather they are making strong demands of the menfolk who constantly beat them there and yet need their support to win elections.
As we all know, women are the highest voting bloc when it comes to election. And at the end of the day, women will do the work, and some people else, I cannot say the men, take over. And then we will be left behind. That's why people are looking at women as if they are beggars. They are just follow. So we want to say, no, enough is enough.
As you know, the parties have refused, to implement this 35% to ensure that women who are contesting for election are up to 35%. So we want a government that will give at least more than that 35% in appointed positions, to women.
Meanwhile, I am sure many of you are abreast of the WikeAyu PDP Wahala series. Is this season 1 or 2? However, I'm not sure which or what number to target, but apparently the drama is still unfolding. The new twist in the narrative is the eventual reply by the national chairman of the PDP, Senator Yocho Ayu, to Governor Wike and his camp, as well as others wishing to know what is silent, wishing to know that the silence over allegations of corruption is strategic for peace and reconciliation within the party and not an admission of guilt.
Any money advanced to the party was declared before the National Working Committee and handed over to the treasurer of the party. The party's accounts are straight, they are up to date, and we promise to present the party's accounts at the end of the year.
And finally, on our story lineup is the release of the final list of the APC Presidential Council. The latest list still has President Muhammadu Buhari as the chairman, while the APC National Chairman Abdullahi Adamu remains the Deputy Chairman 1, and APC Presidential candidate Bwala Ahmed Tinubu as Deputy Chairman 2. Vice Presidential candidate Kazim Shettima retains his position as vice chairman. So also Plateau State Governor Simon Lalong, who remains the Director General of the Presidential Campaign Council. Hopefully the new inclusions, of course, will be reflected in the expanded council comprising zonal coordinators, state coordinators, advisors and campaign patrons, as well as directors, deputy directors, secretaries and directorates. Now let's get into the main business for tonight. And I have a guest from far away, Paris, France. He is a lawyer and one of the spokesperson for the presidential candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Atiku Abubakar. I'm talking about Barrister Daniel Bwala, I beg your pardon. I think he should be joining us anytime soon if we have him online. Great, he is online. Barrister, I'd like to thank you so much for joining us all the way from France, from Paris, France. I wonder what time it is over there and how the weather is. I hope the weather is just fine. Thank you so much for joining us on the ballot.
Thank you for having me. The time is 1 hour ahead. The weather is all right.
Oh, fantastic. Good to hear. Just so we'll make it clearer, and I mean, just so the public also gets it right, we've been there have been a couple of reports about your principal. I mean, the Atiku Abubakar, of course. I know you did kick off your campaigns about 2 weeks ago, but is your campaign currently stalled for whatever reasons? There are conflicting reports, like I did insinuate earlier, but about your principal's health and him jetting out to attend to his health in Paris, while an official statement from Paul Ibe, the media aide to Atiku, said otherwise and said that your candidate is having some business engagement somewhere in Europe. Can you give us some insight into what the true situation is with your campaign, or your party's campaign, that of your principal, and your candidate's whereabouts?
Well, thank you for having me, and good evening to Nigerians. My principal, Atiku Abubakar, is hale and hearty, has not been sick. We travel with him here for a business meeting. The idea behind this ridicule was published by a jester in All Progressive Party, one of those people who should have grown up to be a man but act like a toddler, and whose only value in that political party is social media nuisance value. They didn't consider him worthy enough to be a spokesman. He's like a fallen angel. So they didn't consider him worthy enough to be a spokesman. They knew he was going to be very effective in insulting people. So they made him director of the social media, where he will fall into his natural habitat because he doesn't have value, so to speak. A man who has been a minister of the Federal Republic, you would have thought that over a period of time he should have grown and become a statesman in the country, but he has just become a jester at the moment. Our principal is doing very well. Our campaign has never been put to hold. Everything is on schedule. By God's grace, we are going to be in Benin this weekend for the campaign, and we are upbeat. Of course, you must know that amongst all the political parties, APC and Labour, the other two political parties that are considered as ones close to us, they have never been ready. The campaign council of APC are just announcing that was released yesterday, and it consists of strange bedfellows. And you are going to see by the time they start that is going to be horrible and horrendous. We brought out our campaign.
I hear you. I think we should just get right into it. So
we went on to start.
Dr. Bwala, I would like for us to just get right into it. I'm sure you're monitoring Nigeria's economic trends, and you have the numbers. I'm quite sure about that. I've read a piece, some couple of interviews you've granted. So I'm also sure your principal's economic plan involves boosting revenue generation, perhaps blocking leakages in public finance, and even ending crude oil theft, and all of, the laudable plans that I've had for decades now. So I know the PDP has time and again referenced the period between 1999 and 2014 as some of the best times Nigeria had economically. But even if you put that in relative terms to what, say, a Southern African country like Botswana achieved in almost the same time, and then you realize that we only scratched the surface. Are we likely to move faster ahead under an Atiku presidency, so much that we can be referenced as a technologically advanced and developed country?
Right. Yes, the answer is in the affirmative, and the reason is simple. Atiku Abubakar is the presidential candidate of People's Democratic Party, whose sole ideology hinged on private participation in government. In other words, we believe in what people have come to call capitalism, but it's a mixture. We operate a mixture. But fundamentally, his policy revolves around allowing the private sector to have a full play in the economy. The difference between this administration and his own administration is that until and unless the private sector are given incentives, are given the platforms to operate and participate, you may not be able to create jobs in the economy, because the participation of private sector is what diversifies economy, is what creates competition, is what also engender opportunities for the Nigerian people. And the reason why our revenue has been dwindling is because we rely solely on oil. But even the oil that we relied on now is a trouble, because the subsidy we are putting now has taken almost all of the money. You have had a Rufai say a few days ago that the NNPC have not been able to produce 20,000 naira at the end of the year, because substantial part of what was generated was used in putting subsidy and then paying debts that the government collected. So, but our own policy revolves around creating jobs.
Okay.
You cannot create jobs if the economy is not stimulated. You cannot stimulate the economy if you do not allow private participation to thrive actively in the economic activities. So this fundamentally is its economic policy: private sector participation in the economy.
Dr. Bwala, sometime in 2020, I did read a strong piece on the Nation newspaper titled "The Trouble with Nigeria." It's written by one of my very good friends, Olukorede Yishua, a columnist at the time, a bureau chief for politics in the Lagos region. I'm pretty sure you would have read some of his pieces as well. But some of the questions raised in that piece continues to rattle me till date. And that is because the troubles substantially remain. And they border on the issue of citizenship in Nigeria, the ethnic question, and the subject of indigenship as well. And all of these factor in leadership in Nigeria. I wonder what your position is and whether it aligns with that of your principal and his party as well.
Well, I have not read the article you are making reference to.
No, that was long ago in 2020. If you missed it, I mean, it is there.
Yes,
but I mean, you've read the issues that he did raise and that I referenced.
And then
I would like for you to react to that.
Sir? Can I speak, please?
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, I say I have not read the article you are referring to.
Okay.
And I'm not questioning what was published in that article. However, the Nation tissue paper is one newspaper that has not been fair to others, because the owner of the Nation tissue paper is running for a post.
But the questions raised are critical.
The sense of citizenship, I don't think that citizenship or ethnicity is the reason why the economy is not thriving. There are different countries of the world where they have ethnic nationalities, where they have differences. In many areas, it can be ethnic, it can be religious, but their economies are thriving. What affects economic growth are many. But in Nigeria, because I'm sure you're talking in the context of what you're talking about is in Nigeria.
Of course.
It has been held by economists that fundamentally the trouble with our economy is that, one, we are not producing, we are consuming. Two, the government policies are incoherent and inconsistent. So investors in the country are selling out their assets to fly out because of the inconsistency of government policy. Three, insecurity in the country has also not allowed investors to feel at home or to believe that their investment will bring return on investment. Four, private sector participation must be encouraged. Five, there is no power. You see, in 2016, the APC-led government promised Nigerians that they are projecting 3 years within which they are going to increase power generation by 10,000 megawatts. We have gone past the 3 years. They have not been able to do that. But if you do a scrutiny, you'll find that there has been complaint in the power sector that the private people who supply gas to the government have not been paid their money. So they have ceased in supply of gas, which has affected the generation.
And I hear you loud and clear, Dr. Bwala, and I totally agree with you, but I'm somewhat surprised that you think the issue of our citizenship question and the ethnic colorations that have given rise to disunity in certain quarters is not a problem, is not a national challenge.
Disunity has never and can never be a problem to our economic growth. If you say disunity is affecting harmony and co-relationship and coexistence in Nigeria, I will agree with you. But if
Can
you
the
are saying
economy
that
thrive?
an
Can
article
the
states
economy thrive in an environment where there is no peace, where there is no unity?
in America, America is more divided now than it has ever been in the history of America. The economy is thriving. If you
And
go to South
there
Africa,
are speculations that America is heading towards a recession, Dr. Bwala.
well, they have not gone yet. The dollar is stronger now. You can ask anybody. This dollar is stronger now than it has ever been. Euro is collapsing. The British pound sterling is collapsing, but the dollar is stronger. Unity or disunity is not the reason for economic decline. Ask economists, they will tell you. Unity or disunity might affect our coexistence, but if you say Nigeria you're taking Nigeria as a case study, and you're saying, why is it that our economy is not thriving? I just told you, incoherent, inconsistent economic policies can affect that.
Okay,
Insecurity
I'll
is
get to
one
that, Dr.
area
Bwala.
it can
We
affect
need to
that.
move. We need to move quickly ahead. We're fast losing time, and
You are the
honestly,
one
there's
that
too
kept
much.
us behind.
Yes, sorry. Please say again.
No, you were the one that kept us. You say we
Oh
have
no,
to move.
sorry
I
about
answer
that. But
only
let me just
because of
quickly
put to me.
let's quickly run along here. I mean, there's too much going on all at once, and I'm having to pinpoint specific areas of your principles. A 5-point agenda for national development has been quite tedious for me. I don't have the executive brief, so please give me a sense of direction on where Atiku Abubakar stands on curbing an issue like environmental degradation and something quite important to me personally. I lived in Lagos for many years, and so traffic congestion is quite an issue for someone like me. Perhaps you give us a bit of idea on this plan as well on urban renewal in old settlements and its prototype for new and modern cities.
Well, that is a question you should have put to Asiwaju, who is campaigning on Lagos.
But I'm asking you now, you are the one on the ballot, so why don't you just go ahead and answer for now? We would in due time ask him the same question.
Atiku's plan is not limited to Lagos. It is Nigeria. He's not running to become a governor of Lagos. He's running to become the president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And our economic plan, like I laid out to you, I talked about the aspect of insecurity, which is part of our mandate. I talked about the aspect of the economy, which we believe strongly. And we believe that economy thrives when there's a private participation. Unity is also fundamental because we want a Nigeria that works for everyone. And we want a Nigeria where everybody in Nigeria will feel he's a part of the country. We believe also in restructuring. Restructuring is another area or another problem that is affecting us, where federating units are not functioning optimally.
So questions like environmental pollution and degradation should be for certain candidates and not for your candidates.
Sorry, come again.
So questions on environmental degradation and pollution should be for certain candidates, but not for your candidate.
No, is that a question or you're making a point?
It's actually a question because you just referenced another candidate when I asked you my last question.
You're asking it wrongly. Rephrase the question.
I wanted to know what your principal's plan is on the issue of environmental pollution. But rather than answering the question, you said I should ask the APC candidates that question because he lives or governed Lagos.
The reason is because you mentioned Lagos. You said
I said old cities. Maybe you probably didn't get that right. I said urban renewal of old cities.
That what has been recorded can always be played. You mentioned Lagos. You say you also lived in Lagos.
If I did, then I apologize.
But me, I will answer.
Dr. Bwala, if I did, then I apologize. I actually meant for old cities and what PDP's plan for urban renewal is.
So pay attention, I will answer.
I am actually listening to you, Dr. Bwala. Please just go ahead quickly. We need to tick the boxes with you.
Now, this is our economic plan. We believe that gas flaring is one of the problems affecting the Niger Delta. Gas flaring is affecting the greenhouse gases. This is one of the problems confronting not just Nigeria but the world, which is the reason why the International Convention on Climate Change are constantly meeting and having conversation around reducing the gas emission, reduce gas emission by to 1.8, I think, or something like that. With the rest of the world, this is their point. With Africa, they are providing incentives so that Africans will stop those, activities or habits, because climate change is caused, one, by human phenomenon, the second one by human beings' action. So gas flaring is one of them. Environmental degradation is also caused by this, what do we call this, bunkering in the Niger Delta. And Atiku Abubakar has granted an interview where he said that the bunkering and the oil theft is caused by a conspiracy of ball players, both in the NNPC, people in localities, and some people in government. And he said when he becomes president, he will look into it and will not tolerate that.
I hear you, Dr. Bwala. Very quickly, we don't, in fact, we're completely out of time. But just before you go, I would like for you to help us tick some boxes here. These are just key issues of national concerns that we have raised. But just before we go to that, let's just take a quick break and we'll be right back for ticking the boxes. You're watching Insights, and it's now time for our guests to tick some of the boxes that we have here. Like you do know, if you've been watching us, some of the, or most on all of the issues in the boxes within a time frame of 4 years. So we would ask our guest, Dr. Bwala, to help us just look at the boxes. The platform, we'll just put that up quickly, very quickly on the screen. If you can see, there are a couple of items, Dr. Bwala, on the screen. First is adequate power. We would like for you to tick the boxes here for us. Do you think your principal, an Atiku presidency, would, within a period of 4 years, be able to provide Nigeria with adequate power? Is it a realistic goal? For you, is it an unrealistic goal? Are you undecided on the matter?
25,000 megawatts in the first 4 years.
Please say again.
We plan on generating 25,000 megawatts through the blueprint that we have provided.
And your belief is that will be adequate
in the power sector
for the country nationally in terms of generation, transmission, and distribution?
Are you asking second question or the first one?
No, I mean, put that in proper context for us.
You asked, do I think that my presidential candidate will improve on power? I said in our manifesto, we have promised that we're going to generate 25,000 megawatts.
So for you, that's a realistic goal. Let's quickly go to the second item on the box there. Ending oil dependency. That's something that your presidency, if that were to happen, could achieve in 4 years.
Oil is fundamental part of our economy. Our economic plan with relation to oil is to remove the subsidy and then use the proceeds that we get to subsidize areas like transportation and areas like education, so we can improve our economy, our education.
So which option are you taking there?
Which option like what?
Which option for ending oil dependency are you taking? Is it a realistic goal? Can you achieve? Can you achieve it? Can your presidency or an Atiku presidency within the period of 4 years end Nigerians' dependency on oil?
You are the one that generated the question. Our own plan is not ending oil dependency. Our economic blueprint is to remove subsidy, use the proceeds from subsidy to subsidize transportation, to invest in so many areas of the economy. So when you create a question, you push it as though we are the ones that created the box that you want us to tick. When you ask me a question, I tell you what our plans are. Or you want me to lie?
No, I'm not asking you to lie, Dr. Bwala. I am saying we've been talking about diversification of the economy. Would your presidency be diversifying the economy so much that we do not have to depend on just oil? That is the question. Is it a goal that is realistic for an Atiku presidency? Is it a goal?
No,
sorry, Dr. Bwala, if you just allow me to explain so you get the context, you get where I'm coming from, and maybe that will make it a whole lot easier for you to tick our boxes here. Is that okay?
You are wrong. We never said we are going to.
I did not say your party said that. These are some issues that we've set for candidates to answer. We are not saying your party said so. We are saying, do you think these are realistic goals or these are not?
No, you are getting it. You cannot say, is that a realistic goal? You only ask if it's a realistic goal, if it is a goal set by us. Understand the basic principles. You are asking a question you coin. Our own is not to end oil dependency. We are to remove oil subsidy. We are to diversify the economy and create other means of revenue generation.
Okay, perfect. I would leave that for now. Let's go quickly to the number 3 item.
No, I have answered it.
I understand, and I'm moving on to the next item. Favorable climate or business, favorable business climate. Is that something you're also looking towards creating?
Yes. That is the core component of the vision of Atiku.
So that is realistic for you. I will take realistic there for you. Then let's go to the very last one, which is the ending nepotism in government. Is that something you would also end within 4 years of your administration? Is that a goal you're also looking to ending?
I'm glad by your question you admit there is nepotism. We are against nepotism and we work towards ensuring as part of our plan.
That's also something realistic. I would like to thank you very much, Dr. Daniel Bwala, spokesperson, Atiku Abubakar presidential campaign. I know, I mean, it's late hours there in Paris, France. I'd like to thank you so much for coming on the ballot. Hopefully, we will be able to get your principal sometime real soon to appear on the ballot. I'm pretty sure our viewers would be looking forward to that. Thank you so much for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me.
And that's it. Today is 128 days in our countdown to election day, February 25, 2023. I know a lot of Nigerians are eagerly awaiting the D-Day. As a lot of you do, a lot of us actually anticipate that. I'd like for you to be prepared. We are all getting set for that day. Please do join us same time tomorrow for more on the ballot. My name is Nnamdi Odipo. See you then.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of